Plight of Nigerian Teachers. A call to action. Education used to be a much revered enterprise. Schools used to be hallowed grounds and ivory towers. Teachers on their part used to be very well respected among all professionals. In the 1950s and 60s, government schools were fairly well funded, and there was competition between government-owned schools and those owned by private agencies, especially the missions.
In the 50s, the Western Nigeria we were at the forefront of primary school education. It was free and compulsory education. It was a criminal offense to have a child not in school during school hours. Today, the mission is free education, but not compulsory education.
There's 1 billion children in the world currently, in the developing world, that don't have an effective education system.
Many of our present leaders were fortunate to have gone through primary and secondary school at the time they did. The economy of the country was fairly stable. Education was considered a viable venture worth investing upon, and the enrollment population of the existing schools was manageable. This was before the revolution of the early 1970s, which introduced a tragic dimension to the story of education in Nigeria.
The teacher factor is quite key. It's quite key, very key, because one, even if he or she has spent 3 years at the NCE level, which is the basic qualification to teach in a Nigerian school, but we know that in many of our schools, that basic qualification is not even there. And the people that are supposed to do the monitoring and inspecting the schools to ensure that that is done are not doing that. So even if the person has spent 3 years or spent 4 years and has been teaching, how regularly do they have upskill? When was the last time a proper training for a teacher in the school setting? Most teachers, the real training they have is the one they gained when they were in school. That is all.
The quality of life and work in our public schools and colleges and the very environment in which teaching and learning take place have become a thing of shame and a source of embarrassment to many of us who have an idea of what educational institutions should look like. Indeed, too many things have happened within the last 30 years to the structure, the management, the administration, the supervision, and the financing of schools, colleges, and universities in Nigeria, culminating in a serious dislocation of our educational system, whose symptoms are the much decried fall in academic standards, widespread indiscipline, examination malpractice, frequent riots, and violent court activities.
Teacher than anything. Fermi, can you do number 4? Let's read number 4. I think the reason why we have children who are in school not entirely doing well, and quite a lot of them on the streets as well who are not in school, is a function of our educational system as a whole. I believe that our educational system needs a major overhaul and a major revamp. We need to...
Perhaps an even greater dislocation has occurred in the psyche of the contemporary Nigerian teacher, whose morale is now very low. We have so destroyed the school system and the teaching profession that the remnant of Nigerian teachers are largely a bunch of disgruntled, disillusioned, frustrated and depressed professionals, lacking any motivation or encouragement. Their output in terms of teaching, research and publication is understandably low.
Hey, my name is Indio James and I am a Nigerian and also a school hunter. I'm Adi, I'm a Nigerian, and I am a school hunter.
I am Shola, the head school hunter.
Like two wise men looking for a star, we look in one direction to find a school.
I hunt for unconventional and conventional schools all around the world so that you can make informed choices.
We research, identify and discuss serious issues affecting the education sector around the globe.
I also research and identify with deprived schools in our local communities as well as deprived children so that we can help raise funds to access quality education for them. We are the school hunters.
She is the head school hunter.
School Hunters, in collaboration with the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf, brings to you a 3-month intensive course in sign language. Did you know that you can earn money working as a sign language interpreter? Did you also know that even as a journalist, you can learn sign language to communicate with the deaf community through the news or TV programs? Learn how to use the sign language to communicate with the deaf community as a pastime or as a media practitioner. This course is certified and it is aimed at reporters, teachers, parents of the deaf and all interested persons. Register today for the 3-month intensive certified course in sign language at School Hunters, 36 Nurture Street, Wuse, Zone 1, Abuja. For more details, call 0809 082 1720 or 09291 5112. This 3-month course is endorsed by the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf.
She wants to come and visit, so let's do it again. I would say that, yes, education is being robbed off, It's best because it's not as lucrative as it ought to be, We do need to do something about it, quite frankly. I honestly believe that something should be done about it so that it's just as attractive as any other, profession that we have in Nigeria, so that people who actually want to teach can come, into teaching, and not the people that feel that, okay, just because I can't get a job, I'll come into teaching, or, let me just use it as a stopgap, and then when I get something better, I will move on. If it's lucrative, if it's, properly paid, then you would have, I'm sure we would have the people who actually want to teach coming.
The cumulative result of all this is not only that we are producing graduates of secondary schools, polytechnics and universities who cannot compete on equal terms with their counterparts trained elsewhere, but more painfully, that education is gradually losing its pride of place in the Nigerian society, and that the teaching profession has lost much of its status of honor and has rather become a despised profession.
There is a lot of work.
The only way we have to measure the success is the school visits. We visit the schools, and the first, what we may call face validity that you get is how they organize the classrooms.
Government at all levels in Nigeria should by law be required to allocate a certain minimum percentage of their annual budgets to education. Such budgeting should be specific as to what items get what figures. The budgeting will ensue from detailed research studies and surveys by education experts, civil society leaders and the private sector, supported by necessary comparisons with the educational systems and budgets of such educationally successful and progressive countries as Britain, Japan and Israel. In Britain, for example, the cost of every citizen who goes to government-owned schools is borne almost wholly by government. Citizens of Britain who go through private schools often have more than 75% of the cost of their education paid for by government. In the United States, apart from the elementary schools being free, all citizens who wish to go into colleges and universities have access to either scholarship or grants or loans that are guaranteed by government or other agencies. So in these countries, no citizen is denied basic education because he or she has no money. Instead, they have put in place provisions for even citizens of poor financial standing to aspire to any height in academic pursuit. This is because these countries see education as a key developmental issue. Are you aware that Maple Leaf Early Years Center, situated in the heart of Gwarimpa in FCT Abuja, is the right choice for your child? Let's see the wonderful and most convenient package Maple Leaf Early Years Center has to offer you and your child.
At Maple Leaf Early Years Center, our main issue is the child. That's the focus of why we're here. And for me, as an early childhood educator, Canadian trained, that has been my passion. I've worked with children since my undergraduate years, so children have always been my passion. So Maple Leaf Early Years Center is run by someone who knows what it means to take care of children from the early years. At Maple Leaf Early Years Center, we feed the children. We have a menu that is based on the Canada Food Guide, which covers all the areas of food that the children need to grow into strong and healthy children. All the children eat the same thing, which is a kind of social activity for the children. They get to watch each other eat. They get to watch us eat because we also eat what they are eating. Our food is prepared fresh every day. We don't cater from outside, and the food is prepared in a very hygienic environment. So you can be sure the children will eat and be satisfied. For me, I've always made a comparison to a house. For the child, if the foundation is strong, the child's future is sure. So these early years are the foundation that is so important for each child. So at Maple Leaf Early Years Center, we focus on the child's individual holistic development, which means their physical development, their social development, their emotional development, everything that has to do with what we want to see them do in the next level, their milestones. All that is really so important to us here at Maple Leaf Early Years Center.
Maple Leaf Early Years Center, with a touch of professionalism and an experience of calmness and 100% security assured, is located at number 33 Gade Street, opposite Federal Staff Hospital, Setroko, Gwarimpa, Abuja.
Most of the companies we recruit for are looking for very experienced people, and most of the graduates are just freshers from school and they don't have any experience. No company is willing to really train people or be patient to groom you from the start. They want people who are experienced. They want people who has done something before that they can make reference to.
Apart from advocating for teachers, there's a need to sensitize, screen, and retrain our teachers by creating enabling programs that will develop skills and provide adequate teaching aids. In 2013, Edo State offered the country a classic evidence of the collapse of the foundation of education in an astounding literacy drama. A female primary school teacher with over 20 years experience was unable to read her own age declaration affidavit. Even when the governor prodded her by reading the text and asked her to repeat after him, she stuttered. The drama lasted for about 5 minutes.
Wait, should that be your teacher now? Wait, don't. I and one, should they mean the same thing? Yes. You say it's one. I keep going, I think you say that it's one.
I, Mrs. Josephine Anton, Christian citizens of Federation Republic.
So if you can't read the written word, if I ask you now, go and write this on the board, can you? When you can't pronounce the one already.
Carry it right off.
This is most shameful. It is a serious indictment of the training, recruitment and supervision of teachers in our education system. Although this incident went viral on social media and mainstream media, we must realize that this absurdity is not peculiar to a particular state. It is a national crisis, which demands decisive response.
The cry of everyone in the state and in Nigeria as a whole. quality of education. What are we doing about it?
Satellite talents.
Nigeria is a developing country. We have an educational system that is suffering has suffered a lot of neglect over the years. An educational system that appears not to meet the expectation of the Nigerian people. An educational system that clearly is troubled. And so if budgetary allocation of 26% is recommended by UNESCO is met, it will significantly address some of the myriads of problems bedeviling the educational sector.
What is most critical is how to redeem the system from its self-inflicted harm.
Temple Secondary School had called to visit 4th February, 11 a.m.
to confirm.
We need to focus on infrastructure in the school and make sure that children have a healthy, conducive environment where the whole personality of the child is nurtured and not just they're coming into school and then they're going back home and they're getting nothing out of school. What does she want to do? She wants to come and visit. So let's do it again.
I think the solution is leadership. The solution is access to international funding. The solution is Nigerian companies and organizations that want to give back. The solution is using the diaspora. And all of this coordinated by a mission, a crusade, to know that in a 5 to 10 year period, we should be able to transform our children at the primary school level. Teacher training colleges all over the place. Oil companies and others will be compelled to put money into teacher training and to bring technical expertise from all over the world. So we look at it like a major crisis that has to be resolved, like an earthquake. Like, if we cry out loud enough, both domestically and internationally, the resources will be deployed, and the results were quite amazing.
Every now and then, we're faced with some simple questions. How do we get the best home tutors, best teachers, and best schools for our children? School Hunters can give you that answer when you visit our website www.schoolhunters.com.ng. Register as a member today and gain access to qualified teachers or home tutors to assist you with your educational needs, irrespective of the field or subject, and at your convenience. Qualified teachers who wish to connect to prospective clients can also go to the website www.schoolhunters.com.ng and register as tutors. At School Hunters, we also provide other educational support services like general printing of school materials, organized exhibitions and capacity building workshops, video coverage for your events, as well as enrollments and placement services for students. So do visit us on our website www.schoolhunters.com.ng. School Hunters, everything school.
School Hunters, in collaboration with the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf, brings to you a 3-month intensive course in sign language. Did you know that you can earn money working as a sign language interpreter? Did you also know that even as a journalist, you can learn sign language to communicate with the deaf community through the news or TV programs? Learn how to use the sign language to communicate with the deaf community as a pastime or as a media practitioner. This course is certified and it is aimed at reporters, teachers, parents of the deaf, and all interested persons. Register today for the 3-month intensive certified course in sign language at School Hunters, 36 Notchurch Street, Wuse, Zone 1, Abuja. For more details, call 0809 082 1720 or 09 291 5112. This 3-month course is endorsed by the Nigerian National Association of the Deaf. It is necessary for an urgent reorientation of the Nigerian citizenry.
You need everybody in the polity to realize that education belongs to all of us, and if we don't buy into it, if we don't contribute the way we should, then it will be difficult and perhaps impossible to ever achieve the MDGs in education.
On the place of education and of teachers in the collective destiny of our people, the Nigerian government and people need to be made to appreciate basic and specialized education as a fundamental developmental issue.